Welcome to the fifth episode of You Don't Know Anything About Women, where I, Roy Calvin, am checking out the most cringeworthy and clueless dating and relationship posts from Reddit, giving real advice that the gatekeepers of the internet don't want you to know. Let's get right into our first post. Met a girl at a friend's party. Can I send her a message even though she didn't give me her number directly? I'm a 26-year-old guy with little to no experience in dating, especially outside apps, but last weekend I met a girl who's also 26 at a friend's party. We casually discussed it at the time, and as the discussion progressed and I got interested in her, I want to ask her to meet again and see where it might go. The thing is, she had to leave the party quite early and I couldn't ask for either her number or Instagram directly. Still, as the party was planned on a WhatsApp group, I have access to her number. So I'm wondering if it seems acceptable to send her a message despite her not giving it to me directly, and what would be the proper way to do it. I discussed this with a friend already, and he told me I have nothing to lose by trying rather than not doing anything and probably missing my chance. Sounds like you've got a good friend there telling you to just shoot your shot, and that's what I think you should do as well. Especially, you're in this WhatsApp group, everyone can see each other's phone number, you've all agreed to be in there, you have some kind of mutual connection, of course, everybody knows somebody. So yeah, just send the message. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And my golden rule of texting in any situation is that if the message I send was shown to my friends and family or any other girl that I've ever met, would I be embarrassed by it? So you say you've got little experience in dating, use my rule as your guide. That's all it has to be, really simple. In the comments, there's a guy saying to reach out through your mutual friend and say, hey, this guy wants, I don't, that's a little too elementary school for me. You know, you're 26 years old. I don't think you need to get your friend to go tell this girl, hey, my friend who's really interested in you. No, you've got a number. You're all in the same group. It's fine. There's also another comment. This is a great insight to how some women think. Now, I give the average woman on Reddit very low credibility. They're just not in the real world. I don't think any woman that I've ever slept with uses Reddit because the girls on Reddit are losers, basically. But this is a nice insight that I want to talk about. She says, I personally wouldn't like getting messaged by someone I didn't give my number. Feels a bit creepy. On the other hand, if you can't meet her anywhere else, it's your only option. You have nothing to lose. So she is right, of course, about the nothing to lose part. But she says she would find it creepy if she didn't give out her number. Here's the difference. Okay, let's go back to the guy in the actual story. If this girl likes him and he messages her, she's going to be happy, of course, right? If she doesn't like him and he's reading all of the signals wrong, which is a definite possibility since he says he has no experience, then she's going to find it creepy. It's that simple. If the girl likes you, it's not creepy. If the girl doesn't like you, she's going to think it's creepy. So you can't really control that. That's her own problem that she is going to have to deal with. If a girl thinks you're creepy, that's fine. Lots of people are going to think you're creepy. You can go up to one girl and say, hey, I think you're cute. I wanted to talk to you. And she could be really happy about that, or she could think that you're really creepy for doing that. So don't worry about it. You always got to shoot your shot. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. As long as you're grounded in your own morals and what you think is right, you're fine. Let's move on to the next post. And let me just say, a lot of people on the internet post these kind of embarrassing questions and then they delete the post afterwards because, I don't know, I guess they didn't like the responses or they realized that it's embarrassing. So luckily for me, I've began not bookmarking the links, but copying and pasting the text, which I'm going to keep doing going forward. So thankfully, this is the first of many, I'm sure, posts that were deleted, but I managed to save and I want to comment on. So let's get into it. Can't get my girlfriend to leave my mom's house. I'm a 23-year-old male living with my girlfriend who's 24 and my mother. I've been dating her for 4 years on and off. The living situation has been going on for almost 2 years. The first year and 8 months, I was taking care of literally everything for me and my girlfriend until she got a job because she couldn't keep a job. She's lazy and likes to miss work a lot and get fired. Food, laundry, hygiene, and any other needs. I tried to make her leave multiple times, but she wouldn't and will cry and beg, get on her knees, literally kiss the floor, making me feel bad so she can stay. She has places she can stay, but she said they aren't the best environments and she'll have to pay some rent. She got a job and I told her she has a quota to reimburse me all the money I've spent on her every time she gets paid. If she doesn't meet the quota, she has to leave because I can't afford to take care of 2 adults. She agreed. Now here comes the week she couldn't afford to pay me because yet again, she keeps missing work. I told her she has to leave, but now she's crying and making me feel wrong for doing it. I know it's best for me, but I lose the will every time she starts crying. I tried to get my mom to do it, but my mom doesn't want to interfere. I have no other place to go either. I've been struggling to get her to leave. I have no job right now. I'm starting automotive school in a couple days, but I want her out. I'm not happy with her. What is the best way to deal with this situation? Well, how many red flags are in this post? How many do you need before you end things with this girl? So this guy, as he puts it, his problem is that he wants the girl to leave the house that he lives in with his mother. I assume it's his mother's house. He's 23 years old. But my impression is that he still wants to stay together with her because he's not asking, how do I break up with her? He's saying, how do I get her to leave? So let me tell you, you have to break up with her. That's how you do it. And maybe even then she will try to weasel her way into staying with you and your mother. But no, she has to be broken up with. She has to leave the house that you're living in. I think if you go from the stage of being boyfriend and girlfriend and then living together, if you go backwards and you guys stop living together, that's over. There's no coming back from that. That's like getting married, then getting a divorce, and then trying to get married again to the same person, which some very stupid people will do. Also, who would want to be with a girl like this anyway? It says you have to help her with her laundry, her hygiene, food, and other needs. No, this is awful. It's no surprise to me that you've been dating for 4 years on and off, as you say, because you're kind of one foot in the door, one foot out. I want her to not live with me, but I don't want to break up with her. And this is a terrible relationship, especially 4 years. You're 23. So this is basically all of your adult life has been spent dating this girl. Leave her, find some new girls. It's going to be a lot better for you. On to the next post. Girlfriend doesn't do anything for me. Been dating my girlfriend for almost 6 months now. She and I are both 24 years old and going to college. To keep it short and simple, I am in an unsure position. I'm not too sure if I'm being taken advantage of or if it's just her being herself. I've spent a lot of money taking her out. I see her often and I take her to dine at nice restaurants. We obviously spend time together outside of spending money, but it is frequent where I'm dishing out well over $100 for a meal. We've never split the bill and she hasn't paid once. As a man, I obviously expect to pay, but the gesture would be nice. I buy her flowers almost every time I see her, or I'll bring food for her and her family. I'm not rich either. I'm a college student with 2 jobs. I feel underappreciated and I'm not sure what to do. Is it wrong that I don't feel love after this amount of time? I don't feel like the effort and affection is reciprocated. This is one of those posts where I especially cannot believe the comments, and it's the exact reason why I started this podcast, because I would like to give the real answer to this guy. A lot of the comments are sympathetic. Oh, you don't feel appreciated. It's time to dump the girl. Whose fault is it that he doesn't feel appreciated? It's not this girl's fault that this guy does all of these things and doesn't feel appreciation or affection. He should not have been doing this stuff from the beginning. He's spending over $100 for a meal. I guess that's for 2 of them. It doesn't really matter. But he buys her flowers every time he sees her, brings food for her family. Why are you doing this? You don't need to do any of this to have a nice, healthy relationship with a girl, okay? You have built the relationship like this from the beginning because you're going out on dates, you pay for everything, you don't ask her to do anything or contribute anything financially. You're just a college student yourself. I feel bad for people who actually have enough money that get hooked into paying for everything for their girlfriend. So a college student, you don't have the money to be doing stuff like this. So it's ridiculous. I mean, she as just a normal human being, yes, she should be appreciative of all the effort that you're putting in. But in my opinion, you shouldn't be putting in all of this effort. And she didn't ask you to do it. It would be different if she told you, look, I don't have much money. When we go out, can you pay for me? And then you pay. Then she should be like, oh, like, thanks so much for doing that thing that I just asked of you. Even though I have my problems with that scenario as well. But anyway, that's a better one than the one that you're in right now. I will give credit to one comment here because a lot of these posts on the internet, they could probably just be solved by actually talking to the person you had the issue with, but this guy hasn't. So somebody asks, have you tried talking to her about it? She may just assume that you're fine doing all these things as you haven't expressed that you aren't. And the guy says, I haven't brought it up. I guess I don't want to ask her to do things. I want her to do it without me asking. Well, that's too bad. I think it's really strange to come to the internet and complain about your girlfriend when you haven't even put through a little tiny bit of effort to say, hey, when I do this, can you do this? So again, I don't like the whole dynamics of the relationship anyway, but this is what the guy wants, let's assume. Let's assume he knows what's good for himself. May or may not be true, but he should at least talk to the girl. Can you please start doing this? Instead of just running to the internet and saying, what do I do about my girlfriend? I love giving advice on the situation. That's what keeps this podcast going, but just talk to the other person if you have an issue. And to really see like how much she cares about you or something, just text her sometime about your next date saying like, hey, next time can you come over and cook a meal for me or something like that? And then you'll see her reaction and you say that she does nothing for you. Well, what do you want done for you? It's another communication thing. You can say, hey, for our next date, I want you to come over and cook a meal for me, okay? And if she's a good girlfriend, she will do that for you. Or find some way to make it happen or say, hey, I suck at cooking, but I'm going to pick up some food for you on the way over. Okay. And if she kicks up a fit about it, well, shows you what kind of girlfriend you have. Let's move on to the next post. I never got a second date in my life. What is wrong? I'm a 28-year-old guy. From time to time, I ask a girl out for drinks, dinner, whatever. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes over Instagram. First of all, it's always a struggle to actually set up that first date with every single one. I think it's because they're not really that into me, but they say something like, okay, I'll go out with him. He seems polite, like they're doing it out of pity. And on the date, things go well. We joke around, talk about family, work, everything really. I walk them home or see them off. Later, I text something like, hey, just checking if you got home safe. I had a great time with you today, and I'd love to do it again soon. They always reply with something like, I had a great time too, etc. But none of them have ever agreed to a second date. What usually follows is one of the following. I'm really busy with work. I have a lot going on with school. Or the communication slowly fades and I lose interest myself, even though things felt great before the date. If I try to push a little, like, okay, you can't this week, would next week work for you? I always get something like, you know what? I don't think we should keep going. You're sweet and nice, but I just don't feel anything. Where am I going wrong? He says that maybe the girls just pity him and go out with him. I don't think that exists in the dating world. Really, everybody is pretty cold for the most part. A lot of girls anyway. I guess the best ones aren't, but no girl is going to go out with you just out of pity, especially if there's not like an established friendship or friend of a friend kind of thing. No one's going to go out with you because of pity. You at least have to give some credit to yourself that these girls are coming out with you. That's like the hardest part. The hardest part is getting them out. The second date, though, is what you're having a problem with. So it all comes down to what you're doing on the first date, in your case, I think. He says that they joke around, talk about family, work, everything. That's a very quick summary of your dates. Talking about family and work is like pretty boring to me. I try to steer clear of those things with girls. Like I might ask what their job is at some point, but I'm not getting deep into it. Their family, I don't care. That doesn't really tell me about what they're like as a person. He thinks he's joking around and having a good conversation. Meanwhile, because I know I've been in this position, the girl on the other side of the table might be like, I'm not really feeling this guy. And is this date over yet? Because I feel that sometimes with girls. So just the fact that you can have a conversation and joke around a little bit on a date, it doesn't really speak to how much the person is enjoying that date. Also, I really don't like your message that you send them at the end of the night. Hey, just checking if you got home safe. I had a great time with you today and I'd love to do it again soon. It's not that it's inherently wrong to send a message at the end of the night. I know some guys who do it. It all probably just goes back to, did the girl like you or not? And then it doesn't really matter what you say at the end of the night, right? But I prefer to not say anything. I prefer to let them kind of keep guessing, like, oh, damn, does he like me or not? What happened? Why isn't he messaging me now? Sometimes the girls will message me at the end of the night, and then I'll reply back. That's okay. But I'll never be the first one to send a message after the girl leaves or whatever. Another big issue in the post is right at the beginning. He says he asks girls out from time to time. Like, how often is this? Is he going out with a girl like 3 or 4 times a year and gets the same thing every time? Well, that's not even that big of a concern to me. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of dating experience. Dating is partially a numbers game. Get to like 20 or 30 dates in a year and then tell me that none of them are coming out on a second date with you. Then there's really some cause for concern. But in the meantime, I would say try to vary up your conversation a little bit. I personally like to get into like taboo topics. Some people think it's taboo. I don't think it really is. I'll ask them about like their ex-boyfriend and why they broke up, if they argued a lot, things like that. Guys are kind of too afraid to ask. I like to ask those things. And that kind of gives you a better look at what kind of girl you're talking to rather than, what's your family like and what do you do for work? Like that doesn't really give me anything. I want to know the stuff that she doesn't get asked about very much, and it's done pretty well for me over the years. So that's just my advice. Get some more dates so you actually have enough data where you can draw conclusions of, okay, actually, I'm right. No girl is going out on a second date with me. Or, you know what? Like half of girls are coming out on a second date with me. So whatever, it's fine. Get out there, find some more dates, talk about some new topics. All right, let's get into the final post for this episode. Sigh, got dumped this evening. I'm a 51-year-old man and I've been seeing a girl the same age for 3 months, and tonight she told me she wouldn't be coming to mine this weekend and she wanted to end things. The reason she gave me was that I am too nice, which is a first for me. She was in an abusive marriage, and she said recently she's turned apprehensive and is just waiting for me to lose my temper and attack her. I've never and would never do anything like this. It's depressing to hear she's felt like this, but I genuinely can't think of what I could have done to make her comfortable with me, even if I had known she felt that way. I'm annoyed as I've just booked a long weekend away for the two of us at the end of the month. Guess I'll go by myself. First of all, I don't know why so many guys on Reddit are just obsessed with dating like damaged goods. It's not this woman's fault that she got abused in her marriage, but it's also not another guy's responsibility to get in a relationship with her and deal with everything that comes with that. Most of this post is not spectacular. It's a girl you've been dating for 3 months and she broke up with you, whatever. Time to move on. It sucks, but it's only 3 months. What I want to focus on here, why I wanted to talk about this post, is the final sentence there. He says that he's booked a long weekend away for the two of us at the end of the month. Guess I'll go by myself. So at the time of his post and the final weekend of the month, it's about 4 weeks. Here's my advice if you want to book like a trip or any kind of long weekend with a girlfriend who's kind of new. Don't book so far in advance. The last girl that I started doing some traveling with, we had been seeing each other for about 2 months at that point, and I think it was a Sunday I had a conversation with her. I was like, hey, you want to go next weekend on Friday? We'll fly to this place and fly back on Sunday. And she did, and it was all fine. And the reason I did it so close in the future is because a girl who's that new, 2 months in my case or 3 months in this guy's case, you don't know what your status is going to be. You don't know what your status is going to be 4 weeks from now. You could break up, anything could happen. It's not solidified. Of course, even if you've been going out with a girl for 2 years and you book a trip for 2 months in advance, you still could break up before that, but you've got some kind of stability and established rapport of like, okay, we're probably still going to be together at that point. But with a girl this new, don't go booking trips that are a month away. You are throwing away your money. If it's a thing where you or her need to take time off work, so you got to give enough notice to your employer, just forget about the idea of travel for now then. Don't do it. You're putting a lot of your money at risk, so I hope this guy didn't spend too much on his long weekend. And also, to get into the details a bit more, his words are that I've just booked a long weekend. So that to me shows that he paid for everything. So that's another thing. If possible, at the time of booking or whatever, the time you're talking about it, tell her, okay, here's how much it's going to be, and you can send me this money right now, and I'm going to go book it all. So if she agreed to the trip and then ends the relationship or whatever, she doesn't get off without paying her share of the money for a trip that you both agreed to do. But again, the easiest thing to do if you want to travel together that soon into a relationship, do it for like the next weekend, not 4 weeks away. Okay, that's it for this episode of You Don't Know Anything About Women. Make sure you check out the link in the show notes. You can find out how to support the show or get in contact with me. See you next time.